All right, we're here with Terrain LeBeau. And Terrain, how are you today?
Am well, thank you, Amy, for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm so excited you're here. So, you're going to talk to us today about relationships, and you've got a podcast on relationships, right?
Yes. So I'm going to talk about relationships, the mental health aspect of it, and of course, any identity crisis that people experience. So I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. All right, so tell us a little bit how you got involved in this whole relationship business. What got you into the podcast and the being an expert on this?
Yeah, so in my 20s, I had a very difficult time dating. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Oh my goodness, if there was a crash course, I needed it. So I was very arrogant, very stupid, and very, very unsuccessful. So what I wanted to do was find different ways to find success. So I went to mentors at that time, and then I was able to gather wisdom, turned it into a podcast through my training, my experiences. And now I'm working with women to find love in all the right places after we all have tried to find it in all the wrong places.
That's wonderful. Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of mishaps you had in the beginning before you sought help?
Oh, yeah. I remember I'll give you a story. I remember going on a date, and because I was so poor, there's something called Toonie Tuesday here in Canada. So the toonie is $2. So I remember going on dates for $2. So the bus ride was $2. The movie was $2. Food was $2. It was a $12 date.
Hey, that
way
doesn't
back
sound bad.
way back in the 1900s. But then what I found out is that I didn't know how to keep the relationship going. I knew how to get that first foot in the door, but making it work long term was something I struggled with. So that's why I had to turn inward and identify what is preventing me from finding the type of love that I see so many people able to get. So that is a mishap that I had, and it was a little embarrassing, but I was able to survive it, and I'm still alive today for the most part. So here I am.
Oh, we've all had those embarrassing moments in relationships and dating. So, can you talk a little bit about how you went on this journey to find a mentor or mentors?
Yeah, so what I did was because I wanted to have a successful relationship, I went to people who had success in relationships. So I started asking them questions, like, for example, how do you treat a lady? How do you understand a lady? How do you make a lady like you? How do you become a better version of yourself ultimately? And they gave me some really, really good words of wisdom. The first answer, they said, you'll never understand women. Right? But what you could do is you can make yourself understandable to them. And that's the advice that I took to heart. And that's where I stood in front of the mirror one day and I said, Terraine, what is it that you love about yourself? What is it that you like about yourself? What is it that you don't like about yourself? And that started the transition because I needed to make sure that I was attractive to the type of person that I wanted to become attracted to.
Yeah, that's smart. So I'm still curious about this whole mentor thing. How did you decide who had a successful relationship? What is a successful relationship?
That's a good question because success can mean different things to a lot of people. So, for example, a 2-bedroom house is successful. Driving a Ferrari is successful. Driving a Civic is. So I just observe and I asked. So I spent time with people in relationships. When there's gatherings, I would attend. I'll just bring a friend. Hey, girl, you want to come along for free food? Okay, let's go. So it was an easy sell. And then that's how I defined what a successful relationship. So the first step was the communication piece. How are they communicating with each other? Are they yelling? Are they swearing to each other? Or is it calm, cool, and collected? Like a cucumber, right? Calm and cool. Right? The second step was when they're together, do they look like they're together, right? I remember seeing two people walking down the street and there was enough space in between them that you can fit a 300-pound person in.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Makes you wonder what's going on there.
Yeah, they're like, we love each other. I'm like, that's love? I'm like, reminds me of, was it Tina Turner? What's love got to do with it? So it made you realize like, okay, you want to show the world that this is my partner. So that's another thing that was successful to me. And the third is that when there's this beautiful couple, when they step into a room, energy changes. They have arrived. Jay-Z and Beyonce have arrived. Taylor Swift and her fiance now, they've arrived, right? Like, I wanted that type of energy because it shows the world that this is the person that you're claiming as your second half. And this is the person that you're showing to the world from a male perspective now that you want to make it safe and secure for her to walk around. So
Well, I
that was
love
success
that.
to me.
Yeah, I love that. Travis Kelce, by the way, we're in Kansas City here. That's where Travis is from for Taylor
Shout out
Swift.
to my Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, love them. All right. And so when you started working with women, what do you exactly help them with, and how does it play into mental health? How does that work?
Yeah, so there's a number of women that I work with. One of the biggest concerns that they have when it comes to exiting a relationship and maybe potentially entering a new one is, am I worthy of love? Right? And I didn't realize that it was such a obstacle for women until I started to work with women over the age of 35. Like, when you're in your 20s, like, of course I can get love. Right? Love starts in the bedroom for a lot of people, right? Which it doesn't. Actually, love starts
Right.
outside of the bedroom. So with the women I work with, their confidence and their self-worth really impacted their mental health because, one, they thought they weren't worthy of love. That's a young girl's game. Two, as they began to age, for a lot of women, their value was associated with what? Their looks and their youth. So now they're suffering identity crisis because they were one way in their 20s. Now they're a different way in their late 30s when their marriage or relationship has ended. And now they have to rediscover themselves. So self-worth, self-confidence, and the value that they associate with their age played a huge impact. So one of the first things I ask them in my SOAR model is, what do you want to start doing and what do you want to stop doing? And they'll say, Terraine, I want to stop feeling pain. Terraine, I want to stop feeling alone. Terraine, I want to stop my heartbreak. I want to stop my broken heart. So I'm like, okay, what do you want to start doing now? So that's how it impacts their mental health. And that's how I start them on the journey of resolving whatever issues they still have.
Right. And I was thinking, you mentioned confidence. How do you help someone gain confidence? Is that not something that's just innate?
It is. Like, I feel like I'm a confident person the majority of the time, but I think everyone has a situation where they begin to doubt themselves or their abilities. Right? It could be social setting, professional setting, romantic setting. It could be anything. So confidence for a woman, when I work with them, as I ask them, what is the source of your confidence internally? Right? Forget the job, forget the car, forget the kids, forget the man, forget the clothes, forget everything. Right? Imagine yourself in front of a mirror and you're stripped naked. Do you like what you see? Right? Or is it that you're saying, okay, there's loose skin there, there's fat there, there's cellulite there. So that's how I get them to address the confidence, but the confidence is something that they have to find an origins for within themselves. It could be something, Amy, as simple as, I woke up this morning and I have a reason to smile. And the reason why I have to smile is that I'm healthy. And that is something that's going to build your confidence because you can go out in the world and no one can take that away from you. So that's how we build it internally. Then we can look for external things, but it always starts from within.
That's great. I also find that, I can't think of the word right now, being grateful also helps build confidence. If you are appreciative for what you have, you start, just like you said, appreciative for your health. That builds and builds. And yeah, I agree with you. So
yeah, it could be tough, right? To your point, Amy. Like, if you're not looking within yourself, or there's always something in the world that can beat you down. Always, right? There could be, I have a horrible boss. Oh, my kids, you know what? They keep asking me for money, but I don't have extra money today, right? It could be your neighbor that that continues to leave their grass uncut, and you always have to cut their grass, right? There's something that could beat you down, but you have to. Negative thoughts is something that unfortunately impacts women a lot more than men. So it's harder for women to understand the positivity of things and work through that. So that's how I get them, because they can sit there and say, Terraine, I'm 45 years old, who's going to love an old, withered divorcee, or who's going to want a single mother because I've gained a couple more pounds. I'm not as slim as I used to be. So it can be tough, to your point.
It's a rough world out there. The society has big expectations of people. So that is rough. Do you mainly work with women then that are not in a relationship and want to find a relationship, or do you ever work with women that are having trouble in their relationship?
I spoke to a few women. Officially, it's usually women who are in between relationships or their relationship is ending. I've talked to a few women unofficially when it came to their relationship, just because they were either thinking about cheating, thinking about other things. So you're there, or I was there to be that hand to pull them off the precipice, right? To pull them back off of the cliff. So, but usually it's women who are in between relationships who are trying to figure it out, because the number one thing is they're tired of the games and feeling used.
Yeah. As an older woman myself, and I'm not dating right now, but that's because I had so many bad experiences. So I get that. Yeah. So how do you teach them to find a good man?
Well, absolutely. The example I always give is, here in Canada, we have a store called Build-A-Bear, and you can go in there, right? Yeah, and you can build the type of bear that you want. It could be pink, purple, green, whatever, right? So I tell them, okay, build your man. Exaggerate everything. If he's 6 feet tall, 6 inches, and 6 figures. If he has big hands, big feet, whatever the case is, exaggerated, right? So I get them to build their ideal man, either with physical traits, and not too specific because I don't want to visualize that, right? But I get them to build the type of person that they want. And then after they build it, I ask them the question, okay, where do you find this man? Where is he? That's where women struggle. They know the type of man they want. They don't know where to find them. And then the second question is, what type of woman, talk about heterosexual relationships, what type of woman does that man want? And that's another question that women struggle with. They can't find them. They don't know what they want. It's marketing 101, right? When you have a product in a store, you need to understand, if I place it in the Home Depot, is it going to sell? Home Depot is what? Contractors, people building things. But if you have shampoo, is it going to be the ideal situation? Maybe not. You maybe want to bring it into a Walmart or a Target or a TJ Maxx or whatever the case is, right? So that's how I get them to find the type of man that they want, because there's nothing wrong with your preference, but make sure that your preference in a man or a woman doesn't become your prison, and therefore you can't escape it.
Right. And I think, to your point, like the shampoo needing to be at Walmart instead of Home Depot, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that shampoo, but you're shopping in the wrong place for what you're looking for. Yeah, I like that. So when mental health plays into this, do you have any women that come to you that struggle with their own mental health? Like a diagnosis?
I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so as a coach or mentor, what I do is, if it's something that is complex or severe, let's say it's like depression, right? I would refer that out, because I don't diagnose and I don't prescribe anything. I'm here to help you build that path. We walk it together, then eventually I let go of your hand and you finish that journey. So let's say that if it's someone who is in between, in the middle, somewhere in that gray area. So when it comes from a mental health perspective, women suffer because they either have conflict in their attachment styles, right? Which is, a lot of it's learned from their childhood. Let's say, for example, they've had a childhood where it's always conditional love. I got an A+. Your parents validate you and say that they love you. I did well in sports. I got 3 touchdowns. Same thing. Or you scored 4 touchdowns in a high school game like Al Bundy from Married with Children, right? It all depends on how your trauma started. And a lot of times it's in the childhood. So when they grow up into adults now, their mental health is weakened, right? They may have an avoidant attachment style. They may have conditional love where they always have to perform something. I give sex, I get love. I give sex, I get validation. Or they may be someone that giving off the need that they need someone to save them from something, right? And then a man will come in and take advantage of that. So from the mental health perspective, those are the things that I usually see. I usually see an unusual attachment to the person. I see self-worth issues. I see them searching for conditional love because they got that from their childhood. They always have to perform, as well as I do see some women who become, because of their childhood now, their obsession becomes uncontrolling. They don't want the person to leave, right? Because they've always been abandoned. Where are you going? Who are you texting? Why are you late at night? So those are some of the mental health concerns that I see with women.
Well, and that last one, you're trying to get them to stay, but you're actually pushing them away. So that's a rough one. Do you have any hard and fast rules about women and dating and when they do go in the bedroom and that kind of thing?
Yeah. First thing is, don't tell me about it. Terraine had sex. Okay, thank you. That's a conversation, right? But before the bedroom, I tell women, and some men are going to hate me for this, I tell women that if you meet a man and he's not able to make you feel safe or secure, there is no second date until that is resolved, right? I educate women that I'm not here to help you date someone who's going to be on your sofa in his underwear with a hole in it, right? You may be attracted to that. The sex may be great, but that's something you're going to learn on your own. So the first step is he emotionally available? Can he express himself? I feel this. And because I feel this, I think this. Is he someone that if your car breaks down, he can be there either to help fix the car or he has the resources to get someone to fix the car? Third thing is, he shouldn't be asking you for money. This is a big one. Women who struggle in relationships, many times, in my experiences, what they do now is because the person that they used to be with didn't support them in the way that they need to be supported, they got to take care of themselves. Single mothers struggle with this, right? I got to take care of me and my kid. I got to be the provider. I got to be this, right? So they're in that masculine energy. So when a man comes in now, Amy, can I have $5? They're used to hearing that, right? You would say no, but someone would be like, okay, here's 10. Oh, can I borrow your car? Here's my car with the keys, right? You don't want that type of man because that type of man has issues going on. The roles have switched, right? He's become your second child.
Right.
Right? And then another rule that I have for women is he's supposed to treat you like you're the jewel in his world. Right? When you go out, does he dress up or is he in sweatpants and boots? Does he open the door for you? Does he acknowledge you? Do you enter the room first and then he comes in behind you? There's all these little things that you want to pick up. So those are the things that I teach women to understand that, one, emotionally available. He has to be able to express his emotions, what he feels, and listen to yours, right? Because he's your safety. Two, he has to be able to take care of you, make you feel safe. That could be financially, that could be mentally, that could be spiritually, that could be emotionally. And three, he has to have the ambition and the drive and the behaviors to treat you like you're the queen of this world. Because remember, he's supposed to go out there and pacify the world for you. And then you make the home safe and peaceful for him.
I like that. So one thing I was thinking while you were talking about this is that a lot of women meet somebody and they see that maybe he's not the one for them, but they think they can change him. Like if he loves them enough, he'll change for them. What do you have to say about that?
Men and women can change. You're never too old to change, and you're not ever too broken or unhealed or hurt to change. Now, if you're the type of person that's going to say, I'm going to change him, my question would be, what is better served to you? Finding someone that meets the majority of your criteria, or finding someone that's a project? I'm almost 40. I'm not here anymore to build a woman. Right? This is not a scrapbook, right? I'm not here to piece some Frankenstein woman together, right? I'm here to say, okay, these are my yeses, my nos, and how many of them do they meet? So to the women out there, if you're trying to fix someone, ask yourself why you're doing that, right? Usually it usually comes from a place of scarcity. Well, if I don't fix him, is there going to be someone else? Maybe they will, maybe there won't be. 2, you spent your entire time fixing. It's your baseline. I meet a man, I fix a man, and then he leaves. I meet a man, I fix a man, and then he leaves. Right? But who is fixing you? Or, better yet, who is helping you to fix yourself?
Wow,
right?
Yeah.
That's what I would ask them, and that's how I'd advise them.
Okay. Good points there. And I was thinking when you said, it's I lost it, but you said something about wanting to fix a man and you fix them and they leave. I think a lot of women feel that way even when they support them through college, they help them get their job, they support them and take care of the kids while they're rising up in the company, and then they find someone younger and they're gone. So, yeah, it's hard out there. And I find a lot of my friends not only think they can fix a man, but they think that that's their job. Like that makes them a good human being. Like who are they if they wouldn't stay around for that? Then does that make them a bad person that they're not accepting him as he is?
That's a great question, right? And you said something that was very important to me was, who am I if I don't do that? That goes back to the identity, right? Is it that when you're in a relationship, your identity is to fix people? I'm the handyman or handywoman. I'm the craftsman. That is my identity in relationships, where my identity in relationship is to provide safety and security. I'm not here to fix the women I date or to fix my current partner, right? And my partner's not there to fix me. Like her identity is something else. So if you were to go into a situation saying that, okay, if I don't fix him, or if that's your identity, then you're always going to look for a job. You're always going to work for someone who needs to be fixed. And then what does that do for you? It may make you feel good. You may feel a good person. But once you fix that person, or let's say that person becomes healed, what's the next step in the relationship? Right? Are you going to switch identity? Are you then going to be a loving partner? Are you then going to be what you need to be? So these are questions I would ask people, and you raise a good point. I would listen to what they're saying and say, okay, if you're taking on that identity, where is that coming from? Right? Or what do you think is the more healthy identity of a relationship? And I would go from there.
Oh, that's great. What do you think about when someone's coming out fresh out of a bad relationship? Should they spend time alone and really work on themselves? And how long should they do that?
That's a good question. The length of time is going to probably depend on the severity. Let's say if there's abuse, right? You probably want to take quite a bit more time than someone that was like maybe a mutual breakup. But when it comes to advising how much time they should take, I think you should look at it and say, what is it that I went through? That's my responsibility. Because when two people break up, it's the responsibility of both people. Both people have failed in something. And then you have to take enough time for yourself to resolve that and come up with a plan. So what I would say is probably going to take months. And during that month time, no sex. Right? Don't be one of those people that's, well, you know, Terraine, I'm going to take time to rediscover myself. And then you're sleeping with half the neighborhood. Really? Are you rediscovering your bedroom?
Right.
Right? The paint, right? The paint on the wall, the different sheets from neighborhood to neighborhood, house to house. So take that time, because we can get caught up very easily in the emotions of intimacy. And when we do, it clouds what we need to do, because instead of resolving some of our issues, we can say, okay, I'm trying to fix myself, Terraine, but I feel lonely. Johnny down the street, every time I go put up the garbage in my little nightie, he says, oh, you look so nice today. Let me go entertain that. So you want to take some time and just say, I'm going to close off everything, and I'm just going to be with myself. I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, I had a really bad breakup before the pandemic. We were on vacation in Bali. We got into a big fight in the restaurant in Bali. So anyone knows Bali, it's probably a second or third world country. They're not used to women yelling at men in public. She went off in public, so everyone's looking around. She's dropping F-bombs. And the argument was about, it was scary. I want to jump on the next flight, and I still had 2 weeks on this vacation left.
Wow.
So it was about, she raised something that men objectify women. And I said, I agree. I do think that men do objectify women in a lot of instances. And then I said, but there's also the case that women objectify themselves, like OnlyFans, things like that, right? So she agreed, but then I guess after a while she decided to lose her cool. So I shared that because when that relationship ended, I had to rediscover what I really wanted, because I thought there was elements of what I wanted in that partner. But what I found out is that I didn't do enough research or understanding, and I ignored some of the yellow flags, which eventually became red flags. And that's what we have to do after a breakup. We have to say, okay, why did this relationship end? Ended because of cheating. Okay, perfect. Why did this person cheat? They felt that I didn't do this. Okay. Understand what's going on, how you could resolve it so it doesn't happen again. And that's what I did. So when I entered my next relationship, I understood that I needed to make sure that I had a better conversation in the beginning to identify the type of behavior I want in a woman. And the next person I dated didn't have the aggression, didn't have the profanity, but that took a couple months. So that's why I say it depends on what caused the breakup, how much you are hurt, and how much work do you need to put on it to make sure that you don't repeat it in someone else.
Yeah, that's smart. Going back to, you said something about being lonely in between relationships, but I found that one of the loneliest times I've ever been was in a relationship. So it can definitely go both ways, and that's probably why I'm still to this day, I'm happy just being me. Me and my kids. So maybe someday.
No, don't rush it. Like, you could be very lonely in a relationship, to your point. Like, you could be with someone and you're like, and you probably maybe look back and you're like, wow, that went longer than it should.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, I totally get that. That's how it was. So would you like to cover anything that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, like one thing I would like to share is, and I touch on this just because I think it's very important for women to understand, or even men, let's say men and women, over the age of, let's say, 30 and 40. I like to say that for every 10 years, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s and beyond, find out what brings value to you. So in our 20s, a lot of times we think it's our looks. Your skin is as tight as it ever is going to be. Your skin is as soft as it's going to be. Your hair is going to be as full as it's going to be. Then after your 30s, you're like, okay, I'm starting to get into my job. I might have a little bit of stress in my face. Find things in your life that's going to bring your value up, right? But as you get older, make sure it is, let's say, your behavior, how you treat people, how you treat yourself. Forget about the toys. And I share that because I don't want men and women, especially women, to get trapped in thinking that their looks and their youth is the only source of value. Because if you're going to say that, as you get in your 40s, 50s, and 60s and your looks begin to fade, does that mean you're going to be unworthy of love, unworthy of companionship? So I don't want women or men to fall into that trap.
Right. Yeah, that's bad place to be. So when you're mentioning that you sometimes women would feel like they need to find a man in a certain location or they need to have certain aspects they're looking for. Do you recommend that they go certain places to look for men, or do you think that it depends on what things they like to do? Or
Well, yeah, like I love sushi, right? I can have sushi every single day, Amy. I love it, right? What I would recommend to people is that where you find the person or where you see people, it's usually a hobby. So if you see one at a club, it's usually a hobby unless it's a one-off, right? So I'm removing the one-off. If you're looking for someone that's going to be family-oriented, are they going to be at a club or at a bar at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning? Maybe not. Would they be at the grocery store, the museum, the library? Would they be at social events? Do they spend time during the day? Right? Right? There's a saying, the freaks come out at night. Right? There's a reason why that's a thing, right? So you want to avoid that type of person. So I coach women to say, okay, let's identify where the people who are family oriented are going. And these are the things, right? Like they're going to have to shop and they're going to be out in public at 11 a.m., 12 a.m. The ones who are running games, you won't see them during the day because they're still trying to recover from the night before.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I advise them to make sure your everyday life is where you're going to see them. Like a lot of people I dated was everyday life, was just me going out and asking. And women out there, don't be afraid to ask. If you're interested in someone, hey, you know what? Show interest, right? It's not the days of going to the farmer's market at 2 p.m. and you dropping your handkerchief and the man picks it up and gives it to you and asks you out. That's over. There's no more 5-cent fairies. There's hardly any farmers markets, and I haven't seen a woman in a drop a handkerchief in quite some time. So we have to adapt with this times, right?
Yes. Speaking of adapting with the times, where does online and like things like Match.com play into that?
Well, run, and run some more. No, I'm joking. What you could do is free dating apps. I find to be discouraging to women, right? Because I have a few female friends that are on it. They get bombarded with so many messages. I don't know if I don't know if you've had any experience with it, Amy, but it's a lot of messaging, right? When you go to the paid ones, you filter out what TLC, the R&B group, used to call the scrubs, right? You filter that because they don't have money. They're broke.
Right.
Right? Like the people who play the games in general, they're broke. They don't have the money to do all that, right? So you filter them out. There's someone I used to work with. She went on a paid dating app. She met her husband that way. And they have like, I think, a kid and they live happily ever after in their castle and things like that. But I don't have an issue with dating apps. I tried dating apps many years ago. I didn't like it because I felt that I had to perform on the date because there's so many dates that I would go on that I had to find something new to the point where I tell you, Amy, it's just like, you know what? I'm not even being creative anymore. I'm going to the same restaurant, same location. It was so bad, Amy, that even the server at the restaurant, she's like, oh, do you want your usual table? That's how often I was there. Then when my date at the time, she kind of looked around. I was like, oh yeah, I take my team here from work. I was like, whew, thank the good Lord. I was quick on my feet, right? But you run into that issue with dating apps. Truly is, in general, the bottom of the barrel, right? It's the men that you, even in a drunken state, you would still have enough sense to be like, no, and
yeah, those rose-colored glasses aren't rosy enough.
yeah, it's like those. Have you ever seen those commercials, like the Mad commercials, where you're driving and they put the bottles in front of the windshield and it gets blurry and blurry?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like that, right? Like when you see this person, right? when you're sober and it's clear, you're like, oh my God, you'd run. But when you get the bottle of beer, it becomes blurry. They go from like Igor to like Brad Pitt. And you're like, okay.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And then the next morning you're like, what is that in my house?
Now
So,
my son got very lucky, and he found his wife and the mother of his children. They've been together 10 years now. They just celebrated 10 years. He actually found her on a free dating app. I don't know how he did it, but they were young and it worked out. So far so good.
I love that. Hearing success stories, like you can find success literally anywhere, to be very honest. It's just if you're going to play the numbers, as they say, right? Or if you're going to say, okay, what is my greatest opportunity to find success? It doesn't necessarily going to be the app. Like you hear success stories, but you want to make sure that, okay, I'm getting older. I have baggage. We all have baggage, right? Relationship trauma, relationship mental health issues. Where do I want to spend my time and energy in? And you want to make sure that it's high success rate. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like dating apps have that versus in the wild, in the jungle, right? You can find quite a bit more success.
That makes sense. All right. Well, Terraine, I really enjoyed having you here today. What would you like to leave our listeners with today? A little bit of word of advice to just light them up today, give them some hope.
Yes, you are worth it. Love doesn't expire. You can find it in your 20s. You can find it in your 80s. And remember to always identify what do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? What do you need to overcome? Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. And what is it that you want to acknowledge about yourself? Because you want to continue to build yourself up, because it is your responsibility to fill up your cup. And then when you go out there, you're going to find success. Because remember, if you don't love yourself in the way that you want to be loved, you can't go out there and ask or expect someone else to. So start with yourself, love yourself, and let's get you some happiness.
Oh, I love that. All right, great. Well, thank you, Terraine. This has been wonderful. I've learned a lot. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Amy. The pleasure is all mine, and I always appreciate the conversations I have with you. So thank you.